right, welcome to the John Hollywood Show. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. If this is your first time, or you're coming back for another episode, welcome back. Today, my guest is Jack Cruz. I know you guys saw him on another episode before, but today we're going to dive in a little bit more into on the mindset of positivity and how he got there. And, you know, I carry that type of mindset, and I'm really excited to dive in on why he got there, because I'm pretty sure it's similar. But I'm ready to get going, and here's Jack.
Hey everybody, how's it going? All right. I'm imagining you saying, "Hey, I'm doing good," or you know what,
Hey,
life's kind of like
I'm
blah.
doing good. We're here.
Yeah. Good to see you, John. Good talk last time with Robynn.
Oh, it's
Speaking of
awesome.
Robynn,
It's
Shayne,
cool to have your wife here.
yeah, got to wear the gear.
Yes.
I noticed you're repping your own gear too. We discussed that. That's one thing.
What does it say? Lone Star beer, whiskey,
Lone Star
Robynn
beer,
Shayne,
whiskey,
honky tonk,
and ear candy.
Ah, yes.
That's a honky tonk list right there, brother.
For sure.
Yeah, the thing with positivity, like I said, we touched on that last time, but the road that I took to get to my mindset today, it was a dark road. It was I don't find myself to be a person that ever gets. This was my mindset back then. I never found myself to ever get depressed or let things bother me. I lived on the edge of being confident and arrogant, and that's a fine line.
You're a man. You're a man.
I know it's a very fine line, and you can tightrope that line for a long time. Sometimes you fall into the realm of being arrogant and narcissistic because you're trying to be so confident and you don't realize it. I've realized that over the years. Robynn and I, this is our first marriage. She's been married before. I've been married before. Mm-hmm. My first marriage, I was very fortunate to have somebody like Robynn who would do anything for me and give me the shirt off their back. I didn't see that as much back then. Mm-hmm. And we went through some things. We got pregnant. We lost the baby. That was kind of our demise because we always talked up until that point. Mm-hmm. And we always communicated. And people always said, "How do you guys have such a great relationship?" This is me and my ex-wife. Mm-hmm. And they said, "How do you guys have such a great relationship?" They always looked up to us. And then when things didn't work out, it was devastating for so many people, not just us, but for our friends, our family. They couldn't understand it. It's like when people follow a celebrity couple and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, they have the best life." And then all of a sudden they're getting divorced. People are like, "Oh my God, what's happening? This can't be true." And that was us. And it split our friends in half. Half of them went with her, half of them went with me. And I hated to see that. But then it made me reflect a lot. Things that I did.
Though. It's so true.
Yeah.
It happens on a regular basis with a lot of things, like even with like friend circles. But I mean, keep going with that.
Sure. We started growing apart after that whole elephant in the room that we never talked about. Yeah. We would just, to use that analogy, we'd just throw blankets on it when it was in the room with us. We never talked about it. We'll just cover it up. We'll just put it in the closet and leave it there. We'll sweep it under the rug, so to speak. And that's where we lost that connection that we had. And we grew apart. Unfortunately, we were married for 13 years. We got married young. She was 18. I was 20 at the time. Yeah. And it was a ride. It was a great 10 years we had together. Mm-hmm. We grew up together basically. Mm-hmm. And for that to fall apart, it was for so many reasons. I myself, I'll admit it. I had a transgression that I looked at as, if this doesn't work out, I ruined everything. That didn't work out. And that just was even more devastating. Mm-hmm. That I went through all that, tried to do something with someone else, didn't work out. And that for me, I was like, well, I just failed at life. Mm-hmm. And so many things happened. That happened. And then I lost my job. And all of a sudden that confidence level goes way down.
Yeah. I mean, you're battling with everything that's going on around you, not only your
Sure.
relationship, but your employer. Like, I mean, if
Yeah.
people run into employee problems, and it's like,
Yeah.
but
And it was devastating. My confidence level which was always just redlining,
yeah,
was down in the dirt, man.
yeah,
And I didn't know how to handle it. But even through it all, I told myself, I can get out of this because I know myself.
mhm,
But it was tough. It was really tough. And I got into a few relationships after that, after all that transpired. Nothing of substance to me because
mhm,
I couldn't, for me, I was so devastated and heartbroken
mhm,
emotionally, mentally. It was I tried to beat it by just running and working out as much as I could.
yeah,
That only takes you so far.
yeah.
Some people go towards drinking and drugs. I chose the other route, and
I
it
definitely went towards drinking and eating everything when I reached a similar point to that, and it was like, you
yeah.
know what? The pizza sounds good. So does a 12-pack of beer.
Oh, believe me, I was doing it all, but I was working out so much
Yeah.
that all the garbage I was putting in my body didn't matter.
So
And people were like, "Man, you look great." And I was like, "Yeah, but I feel like shit."
yeah.
And I did. I didn't feel good inside.
You feel like you're
Um,
pushing those emotions that you're going through, like all this stuff that's like building up
I
away
was just
instead of addressing
pushing them
it. Yeah.
down, man.
Yeah.
I was pushing them way down. And I had a discussion one night with my ex-wife. We talked, and the words that she told me hit home. She said, "Jack, I forgave you a long time ago." Ooh, I tell you what, man.
How long after like you found yourself, you guys were separated, I'm assume, and then you
Mm,
found yourself in this really deep, dark place. How long did it take for that discussion to happen?
um, 6 years.
Fuck. You were
6 years.
battling for 6 years in that, that dark corner, that really unhappy place.
For 5 of that, I was trying to make something work with somebody that was never going to work
Okay.
outside of that,
Mm-hmm.
and it that's what really caught me up. So after that, a year after that 5-year relationship ended,
Mm-hmm.
I had that discussion with my ex-wife, and she opened up and said, "I forgave you a long time ago." That hit. She's like, "You need to forgive yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to move forward." That is my moniker today. Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And it sticks with me. And like I said earlier in this, I got very fortunate to have two very special people
Mm-hmm.
that have come into my life. I wouldn't say lucky. I'm very fortunate
Yeah.
because we talked about with Robynn. We don't talk about luck.
Mm-hmm.
You're not lucky. Things happen in your life for your reason because of the things that you do, your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could look back on that dark time and try to blame somebody else. That was on me.
Yeah. Oh, for fucking sure. Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
yeah.
totally on me.
Yeah.
And I realized that. And that's what's changed my mindset over this period of time, that
Mm-hmm.
I don't be selfish, but in turn, it's okay to say no.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to not have toxic people in your life. This is where the more positivity comes into life, the quality of life. Don't have people that are going to drag you down. Hang out with people that not are yes men or yes people, but that have positive, affirmations, positive energy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that energy becomes a synergy within that group.
For sure. Yeah.
And you all push each other to grow, even though you're not literally saying, "Hey, John, man, look, I loved your podcast last time, but you should have done this, this, and this, and it'll be better." It's not that. It's about looking at each other and saying, "Man, I love that energy. I love that positivity."
Mm-hmm.
And I try to pass that on to people. When Robynn and I met, she was such a happy, positive person. But I told her one day, I said, "You were the happiest, happiest, positive, negative person I know." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well," I said, "You're very happy and you're positive about so many things, but you go towards things that are so negative and volatile and toxic."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it kind of opened her eyes a little bit. And I knew what she was seeing when I told her this, because I started to see that when I started to forgive myself and started having more empathy for other people. That blindfold that I had on, where I was just paying attention to just my little bubble, it fell off. And so when I make my posts daily, I know some people roll their eyes at the things I say or post, but I try to be positive. I have a weekly positive post that I put out there on social media. And for me, we talked about this. If it touches one person, I don't care if all, I don't know, thousands of people that follow me see it and they don't comment or like it. I wish they would, because I want to know what they're thinking. But if one person gets something out of it and says, I look forward to your weekly post. I needed this today. This got me through the day. I was having a bad day. Man, that hits me right in the feels, because it's something that we all want attention as human beings. We all want to feel loved. We all want to have positive feedback about things that we do, things that we feel that we're doing properly. But it's also good to have that constructive criticism in our life. And I think to have your defenses down and take it, say, okay, hey man, you know what? This is what I'm doing. And if you came to me and said, Jack, man, that's all great. Here's some of the things I do that help me. That's not a way of attacking somebody, but it's like, hey, that's awesome. I think I'm going to take some of your things and do them, but here's some of the things I do. Use them if you want or not. And that's what you have to offer people, is that there's other ways of doing things that not everybody does. Just like your body's different. Everybody's body's different. My workout routine may not work for you, or your workout routine may not work for me.
We do what we enjoy.
Exactly.
And even if it's nothing at all.
Yeah, exactly. I tell people, find the things that bring you joy and do them over and over. Your quality of life.
I want to take a step back real quick, just because it's, one of the things that you brought up really early on was eliminating toxins, or eliminating the toxic things. When it comes to eliminating toxic things, one of the things that I always lived by, or I thought about whenever I was in that situation, was if it's TV, if it's people, if it's food, if it's drinking, if it doesn't make me feel better after I'm doing it, then I probably shouldn't be doing it. So if I turn on, say, for instance, if somebody turns on this podcast and they don't agree with what I'm saying, they feel bad about something that happened in the episode or one of the other episodes or whatever it may be. If they don't find enjoyment in this, I wouldn't recommend to listen to the next one, or to keep putting myself in the situation to beat myself up, listening to over and over and over if it's not bringing me joy. But it's realizing early on, okay, I started the first episode. Why am I going to continue to barter and beat myself up over and over and over and over? If I eat something bad and my head feels like it's in the clouds after I got done eating that, it's probably not good for my body. Let's just think about that. I just had a bunch of bacon. I feel great. Somebody else might eat bacon. They probably won't feel as good after they're done eating the bacon. I love bacon. Why not? But it's opening our eyes to respond to how your body is feeling. Respond it if you think about those things and really take the time to understand yourself and listen to what your body's saying to you. If you had a conversation with somebody and you feel really shitty after talking to that person, maybe it was just gossip or the chisme or whatever. If you're talking bad and you get off the phone and you're like, man, that sucked. Why do I call that person? Why? Then I hate to say it, but you probably shouldn't be friends with that person.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt to moonlight somebody and slowly ease your way out of their life. It's okay. It's you're going to find somebody else that makes you happy. That person is going to continue doing what they're doing. And if they love living that negative lifestyle, let them do it.
But there are plenty of people like that. Being
selfish is okay. And you said, saying no is okay. And people don't really understand, there's a point that you need to get to where you really got to prioritize the feelings you're going through. And it's when you're in that deep, dark place. I've been somewhere similar after my marriage. And I felt like the only solution was Tinderizing the fuck out of every single dating app. and going on a ton of dates and
Yeah.
spending all this money on things that didn't matter. And then it got to the point where I was like, hey, I'm still here in this hole, and this really sucks. So it's like,
Yeah.
all right, time to figure something else out, because this isn't working.
Yeah, it's well, I went the other route. I went old school. I would go out. I didn't do any apps. They were out there.
Good.
I just went out and met people, and it was nuts. It wasn't the thing to do. But it was a distraction, and that's what a lot of those things are. When you get in a dark place, distractions don't lead you anywhere. They're just that. They're a temporary distraction that doesn't help you move forward. It keeps you away from the prize that you're trying to get to, and that prize is a better quality of life. And sometimes those toxic things are people, like you said, they're friends, they're family. Oh, it's the worst when it's family.
I don't know how I missed that, but that's probably the hardest thing to address.
That is a tough one. I have distanced myself from family that's very negative, because you have to look at the point, and friends of 20 years. It's hard. I mean, it really is, but you're not doing them any favors if you continue to enable them. And that's what it boils down to. You continue to enable them to be negative, to be a toxic person to themselves. I don't want to cause any issues with them, so I won't say anything to them about what they're doing. You're not doing yourself any service to help them. You're doing yourself a disservice by not helping them be better than they were yesterday.
So how did you find yourself distancing yourself from your family? How did you do it? Like, what did you do to kind of like ease back on the reins of that relationship there? Because I know that's probably like one of the hardest ones. Say it's your parents, or your brothers, or your cousins, or like how did you kind of ease back on that relationship?
It's just a matter of not contacting them anymore.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's so sad, because they're blood.
Yeah.
They're family. And you have these happy memories with them when you were a kid. And I think we have a different mindset when we're younger. We don't see the struggles of adults when we're kids.
Well, everything's green. Everything's green. Like, instead of like, the grass is always growing in a better way because I'm getting older. And once I hit 21, I'm going to get fucked up. Like,
I can't wait to get to this age. I can't wait to get to this age. You're not thinking about what everybody around you is going through other than your own little world.
Yeah.
Oh, Sally, she said she liked me last week. She doesn't like me this week. Those are the little things, It's the things that you laugh about now, like, wow, I can't believe I'm worried about that. But you don't have anything when you're a kid and you're growing up. You don't have anything to compare it to. And your parents are trying to tell you, and adults are trying to tell you, like, oh, don't worry about that. And you're like, what do you mean to worry about it? I'm heartbroken. It's horrible. That first breakup that you have, that's devastating to a kid.
Yeah. The end of the world.
But you don't realize it's such a minute point in time that it's not going to matter anymore. You remember it, but it doesn't seem as devastating as it does to something that's affected you at a later time in your life, because you kind of prioritize and realize, well, this really mattered, but that didn't. And that's where it boils down to that positive mindset again. What truly matters in your life? When people say, I'll use, for instance, people are like, oh man, I love your workout videos that you do, or your posts about, staying fit and just your daily workouts, or you're posting them. Other people are like, man, why do you post that stuff all the time? Like, well, for the people that enjoy it.
Yeah.
And the people that don't enjoy it, I found out, are the people that feel bad about themselves because they're not doing it majority of the time. Not every time, majority of the time.
Yes.
Now, I tell them, again, we go back to that positive note of, why make these positive posts for that one person if it's just that one person? Everybody else can see it, roll their eyes, or be like, you know what, man, that's awesome. I need to go out and do that. Yeah. It's 50-50 really, when it boils down to it.
Yeah.
You have people that don't enjoy them, but they still look at them, which is funny.
Over and over.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the once, they like go back. It's like, why does Jack post that? Why does
Like, oh my God, John, look, why is he posting that again? Every day. Why does he post that stuff? Like, for the people that
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Other people enjoy it. Like, it makes me happy. It's okay.
Yeah. But we talked about that too, about looking back at our own videos or posts that are positive and saying, because as positive as we are, John, we have our bad days.
For sure. Yeah. Wake up. Some days you wake up, you're like, fuck, I don't want to do this. Like,
yeah. And it's all, what's my motivation today? And when I ask myself that question, I tell myself to be better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that gets me through the day.
It's the little cliche things that
sure,
people are gonna,
it totally
it's
is.
the little cliche things. And it's so simple, but it boils down to like just finding gratitude and finding that I have it really good. I have a roof over my head. I got a car. I got a family. I mean, I'm alive. I got all my limbs. Yeah. I might be wearing glasses, but my eyes still work. Like, finding gratitude, getting up, that little bit of motivation. I'm gonna be better than yesterday. Yeah. I could help somebody today. That random smile that I gave to the lady at the grocery store that was wearing a mask, that couldn't tell that I was smiling at her because I was wearing a mask too, and it looked really creepy looking at her. It helped her. It didn't matter. But it's that little bit of gratitude, like just sharing the energy.
Sure.
And it's so cool to see other people that are like-minded like that. And being as I mean, I'm not huge. You are not huge. You're not a huge celebrity, but we're an influencer in our own spot.
Sure.
There's somebody that follows us because like the way that we act makes them feel better.
And I tell people that too. Everything that you do on a daily basis, stuff you post online, stuff you say to other people, the people that are there, you may have fans you don't even know about as just a regular everyday Joe.
Yes.
But they're looking at your life that, wow, I want that.
Yeah.
I want what that person has.
Yeah.
And that person may think, man, my life sucks.
Yeah.
But there's always somebody looking up to somebody else. And it's just this progression.
Yeah.
I mean, I look up to people, but I also try to make things my own. Like, I see people post positive things, but a lot of times they'll regurgitate something. And I put it that way because they'll just share it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just shared it, but you didn't put it in your own words. Did you really read it? What did you get out of it? Like, you and I may read a book and write a book report. Your report could be completely different than mine. And, you know, I'll use the Bible, for instance. I mean, it's a book. It's a book that was written by man, an interpretation of things that happened in history. Mm-hmm. I mean, I grew up Catholic in Catholicism, but I questioned everything. Oh, the nuns hated me. I questioned everything. I would get in such trouble. But
you're that guy. You are that guy.
They're like, because we said so, because it's God's word. I'm like, but it's a book. But I think if you don't question everything in life, you're a sheeple.
Yeah.
And that goes to both ends, whether it's religion or politics. Don't just blindly follow something that because it's what you were told to follow. Mm-hmm. Just like, I'm going to go into this, but hate and racism, that's another thing. We're not born with it. We're taught it. We're taught to hate somebody. Oh, I don't like John because he wears glasses. I hate people that wear glasses. Well, who told you that? Oh, my parents, because they had perfect vision. And they don't like the optometrist. I'm like, what? So those things, it's what we teach others, not just children, but adults. What are we showing with our actions and our words, our posts on social media? Like you said before, you're very thankful for the things you have. I'm thankful that I'm sitting here talking to you right now. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm thankful that I have a home office. I have a beautiful wife that I get along with, which, you know, that having a significant other you get along with.
People dream. That's their dream. Like, I couldn't tell you how many times that I've been asked, how did you get to where you're at? Stop fucking looking.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. When I stopped looking and when she stopped looking, we were both, actually, when we met, neither one of us was looking for a relationship.
Yeah.
Because we had both gone through the marriage and then the relationship after the marriage that just wasn't working. So she took a break for herself. I took a break for myself.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Boom. we collided, you know, it was, that's the way it happens. When you start taking care of yourself And when you're truly happy with yourself, everything else around you just starts shining and starts becoming golden, and
it falls
it's
into place.
it really does. It's like, it's like Tetris. It's just like bloop, 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 bloop.
Yeah, you prioritize your happiness, and it, like the things around you, just like this is going to go there, this is going to go there. You're still going to run into shit that doesn't make you happy.
Yeah, life is not perfect.
To respond to that, no, not at all. And I would be completely lying to you if I said that I'm positive about absolutely everything. There's things that I don't like and I don't enjoy, but I still fucking go do it. Like there's a lot of things that it's hey, just suck it up, get it done, and then move on. Because in the end, you're not really looking at that thing that you have to do as something that's going to benefit you. But it is. And if you don't do it, then it's going to fucking fall back on you, and it's going to be, oh, shit. I was supposed to do that 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where, like, I'll use emails and texts and messages that we get. We are so connected as a society. There is no reason for people not to respond to a message right away, other than they don't want to. They have not made time for it. I'll get back to that later. That is one thing that really bugs me. One, being a professional in what I do, whether it be with technology or with the music business, I expect the same courtesy I give you. If I'm going to contact you, sure, I'll give you 24 hours. That's tops, man. If I don't hear from you, okay, you're a bad business person, especially if it's about business. Now,
it's hard to be dependable on somebody that's going to respond to you. Like,
so
if you're leaving money on the table with the conversation, then it's okay. I'm just going to take my money back and give it to somebody else.
Exactly, and it's the same. That same concept goes with our friends and family. We make time for the things we want to make time for, and that's what it boils down to. So if somebody doesn't respond to you a message, they're not making time for you. They prioritized you on the back burner for whatever reasons. Sometimes don't take it personally if it's a relationship. Other than if it's you're dating somebody. I mean, that's a red flag, obviously. Hey, okay, they don't want to talk to me.
You might be number 4, number 5, or
exactly. They forgot to get back to me because they responded to the other 3. So things like that. It's don't. Sometimes you have to take a step back and say, okay, is it worth my time continuing to contact this? This is the toxic part I'm talking about. To continue to contact this person and enable them to only bring me into their life when they want to. When they feel they have time for me. Don't do that. You're doing yourself, again, a disservice if you allow that to happen. Make time for the people that make time for you. Reach out to the people. And there are people that I reach out to that I don't hear from a lot. It's because they may have gotten me through a dark time. And I know what that's like. So I continue to reach out to those people. When I think about somebody, I reach out to them. How are you doing? Even if it's not even a phone call, it's just a message.
I think everybody's got that one friend. I think everybody's got at least 1 or 2 friends where it's like, I haven't talked to you in 3 months, but the second I text you, you're going to text me back within the hour, most likely, if you're not busy. How life happens, I understand. But it's like you pick up exactly where you left off. I have a few of those, and I reach out to them whenever I think about them, and then they reach out to me whenever they think about me, or they're going through stuff. A good buddy of mine reached out the other day. He was fucking crying, and I was like, okay, let's look at this situation that you're in real quick. Let's slow down, because you're going 1,000 miles an hour. You're crying, and I'm here to support you. I don't want you to be in that place anymore. Let's think about this. So what happened? What is it doing to affect your life right this second? Okay, it was 3 days ago. It's still affecting you 3 days from now, and you're fucking crying about it. Did you address it? Cool. Now we're moving on from it. It's gone now. If you can sit there and dwell, it's going to keep you from being productive today, and you're going to be pissed off at yourself tomorrow when you look back at yesterday because you were sitting there thinking about something that happened 3 days ago still. If it's no longer there, we're not going to dwell anymore. We're going to move on. We're going to have a positive day. We're going to get some fucking work done. Go work out. go do something, go punch something, punch a wall, punch a punching bag, get the frustration out. But we're not
Sure.
sitting here thinking about this any longer. It's done.
Yeah, it doesn't do you any good. It poisons your mindset. It poisons your mentality. It poisons your spirit, and it starts to poison you physically if you continue to let that stuff fester. You know, I've had stuff happen in the music industry with Robynn that people telling me, "Oh, you're not the only people in the music industry." I know this. That's obvious.
I mean, it's Austin, Texas.
Exactly.
Austin, Texas. Your neighbor's probably a musician.
Yeah, but I kind of use I haven't been in it that long, but I've been in business a long time.
Yeah.
So I know how to do business. I know how to make sure I'm communicating properly. And if I mess up, I own it.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, that was my fault. I apologize. Let's make it right. I don't make excuses. So those are the things. There you go. Yep. You have to own it. And onus is a big thing for a lot of people, whether they choose to do it or they don't. So many people like to blame bad things that happen to them on everybody else, but you have control over that situation. You have control in what direction you can go. If something's going very, very badly and you're continuing to go that direction, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Change direction.
Yeah.
Keep moving forward, but change direction.
Yeah.
Maybe stop, take a look, reassess the situation. And that's what most people don't do. They're like, I don't have time to stop. I have to keep going. Yeah, but you're going about this the wrong way. You're going the wrong direction. Stop, take a breath, assess what's happening, and then move forward. But don't go the same way. That's again, the definition of insanity. Continuing to do the same thing over and over and over, exactly the same, and expecting different results.
Yeah. Not
going to happen. Yeah. You have to change a variable or two for it to even possibly work. But that's how things get done. You either learn or you don't. And I talk about people's strengths and opportunities to improve, not weaknesses. Yeah. I don't feel that people have a true weakness. I just feel like they're just not well-rounded in certain areas. And it's things we can improve on. You know, whether it's somebody's look or how they address somebody or how they interact in a crowd. You know, there may be people that, hey, I don't like to be on video, but I'll talk to you all day long with audio.
Super uncomfortable on video. Super
talking. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know. So, but it's
that's gonna be that's the video. That's the clip I'm putting on YouTube. Is both of us like this.
Yeah, it's just that. It's things that make you uncomfortable. You can either choose to push them down and not deal with them. Yeah. And that doesn't do you any good. No. Or say, you know what makes me uncomfortable about this? I don't like the way I look. Okay, what can I change? Maybe I need to do my hair. Maybe I need a tan. You know, it's something that you can always improve on something. And it's your attitude. Again, your mindset, the people you hang out with. Yeah. But we go through all these things in life. And again, we either learn or we don't. It's about enduring so many things before we can accomplish what we want. And, you know, we don't accomplish great things without enduring things. So
I was reading something the other day. It was even the strongest man was weak at one point. So it's like, if you think about it, Mr. Olympia, I don't know if you guys know what Mr. Olympia is, the biggest fucking muscular guy, but it's all like, it's, you know, like a statue of body of work. That guy had devoted so much time to working out, but at one point he didn't come out as mom with huge muscles. He was probably scrawny, a little kid, but he got to that point where he's like, I'm going to devote myself to doing this, and working out and building muscle and growing. But like, it's you have to put in the work. You have to put in the time to build the muscle. The smartest man didn't come out super fucking smart. He put in the work. He educated himself, and then he got to that point where he wanted to be. It's about finding that time to put in the work, even if it's for yourself. Put in the work for yourself to make yourself happy. If you're depressed, if you're super anxious about everything, if you're anxious about being in an uncomfortable situation, I bet when you continue to put yourself in that situation, it's going to change, and you're not going to be so terribly anxious all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good segue to just what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Both of us have not always been this positive.
No.
It was a journey to get here.
Yeah.
And a lot of it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Dark times so I feel I have empathy for people. I think that's going through what I went through, and I won't even say going through what I went through, but putting myself what I went through, because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I put myself through that situation. So I take onus for that, and realizing that makes me have more empathy for people these days. I really, really try to put myself in those other people's shoes. You know, when I see somebody on the street begging for money, I think to myself, where did their life go wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Where did they give up on themselves, and where did everybody else give up on them?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what got them to that point? You know, it's things like that. You know, when I see somebody being mean and ugly and arrogant, what brought them to that point? No. Yeah, exactly. Like what made you go that direction and continue to have that mindset? Mm-hmm. Blindly, you know, and not even care, not even have any type of conscience that you're hurting the people around you. And, you know, if you're
insecurities is that person carrying?
Exactly. I mean, especially if you're a leader, you want to lead by being prideful, but yet having respect from people that look up to you. Mm-hmm. You don't want to intimidate them and scare them. Sure, some of them are going to be intimidated by you, but sometimes it's a good thing, because they're like, man, I look up to them so much. They're awesome. Ooh, I feel uncomfortable talking to them, but exhilarated at the same time, because they put off such a positive energy. Mm-hmm. It's that intimidation factor that can go, it's a fine line. Again, we talk about being confident and arrogant. Mm-hmm. It's a very fine line.
A lot of people will have a pre thought out opinion on the leader, mm-hmm. that person. So for instance, let's think about cops. For people, a lot of people, when you're driving your car, you might be going the speed limit. If it's 55, you're going 54. But if a cop gets behind you, you're like, oh, what did I do wrong? They're just driving down the road. But we've all experienced some kind of thing where it put us in that place where, you know, even if I never had been pulled over before, everybody's opinion or thinking or, you know, the situations that they've been put in and I've heard about, like, oh man, I must be getting in trouble now, like just because they're behind me. It's like we're so quick to jump to what we think is going to happen instead of what we know is going to happen. Like,
yeah,
just continue doing what you're doing. If you feel like you're doing the right thing, then it's going to be okay.
Sure, it's tough. People do. We have misconceptions sometimes, and it could be. You know, like Rob and I go out and run and jog and walk around the neighborhood, you know, mm-hmm. It's people that we come across. It's funny, when we initially saw them, people were just like, you know, they won't look you in the eye. They're just like, and sometimes if I'm not smiling, I know I look intimidating. I get it.
You're a big guy.
I mean, so you see me walking next to this little blonde. I'm just like, you know, just, I don't know. I don't know what face I'm making sometimes. So I may look angry.
My face.
Yeah. You know, but now the more that we see them and you know, I always say hi and I smile and it's like, they're like, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. It's just that familiarity, I think, for a lot of people and getting to know people. I mean, you know, like yourself, I mean, you're an officer. So I think Robynn mentioned this. She was like, I had no idea. You didn't seem like one to me.
I'm just a guy.
I knew you were one, and it didn't. I mean, I had no conceptions about you. It was like, hey, okay, he's a person. Yeah. And that's how I look at everybody. Yeah. I don't care. And I've told Robynn this. Yeah. I don't care who they are. Yeah. I don't care if they're a celebrity. I don't get starstruck. I really don't. I think the only time I got starstruck is when I was hanging out with Eddie Vedder in Hawaii.
Damn.
And that's a funny story, because I was out there, and this is when I was going through stuff with my ex-wife. She actually called me and said, hey, Eddie Vedder's in Honolulu. And she told me where he was staying. And I was like, I'm staying right next door. I was like,
oh, nice.
He was sitting at the bar. We sat down, we chatted. That was an experience.
Yeah.
That was the only time I was just like, oh, Eddie Vedder, oh my God. You know, grew up listening to Pearl Jam. That has listening to that, music brings back so many memories, either good or bad.
That's amazing though. That's something to be like, you can look back on now and be like, man, holy shit.
Yeah.
I lived that.
Yeah, no, it was awesome, man. I think what would have made it even better if we had gone surfing together, but that didn't transpire. I had to work the next day. But it's things like that you got to look at that just take you in a direction of, do I want to look at somebody and be intimidated for whatever reason? Or do I want to look at this person that they're just that? They're another person. They get up in the morning. Sure, they may have a different routine, but they breathe the same air I breathe.
Yep.
They may not have the same mindset, but they're just a person. So now, do I give that other person that I just meet due respect? I do, until they give me reason not to.
Yeah.
So,
but even then, it's like, if you hit that point where like the disrespect is there between the two of you, then it's time to part ways.
Sure, exactly.
There's
no reason to hang
no point in us continuing on with this. This is it's not going to end well for either one of us. And I'm like, it's putting me in a place where I don't like to be. So you know what? It was nice seeing you. Unless I'm at work, then I have no choice.
Exactly. I mean, I've had people that I've worked with that I've had higher ups. I've had supervisors that I'm like, we don't get along.
Yeah.
I need to move on from this into a different area. And I've done that. Yeah. I've had supervisors try to keep me. They're like, I'm not going to allow it. I'm like, well, I'm going to make sure it happens, because now I feel like you're just being spiteful, and this isn't going to, again, not end well for either one of us. Yeah. Things are going to get ugly. I kind of look at it this way. This sounds very narcissistic, but there's alphas and there's betas. Alphas recognize alphas. Mm-hmm. Betas that want to be alphas usually cause a lot of trouble because they
poking the bear.
They have a chip on their shoulder. Yeah, and it's just because they always feel like they're not getting the respect that they're due. But when you respect yourself, others will respect you more. I think that's a big thing. It's, if you don't respect yourself, you're not happy with yourself, other people are going to see that. You're going to put off that energy, that negative energy, and people will be like, this guy's arrogant. I can't believe, how did this guy get where he's at? This is ridiculous. But there's people in high positions that are betas, that they have that chip on their shoulder, and it's just ridiculous. It's for me, it's very comical to watch, because I'm just like, man, they took a path that they, they got enough stuff on their nose that they have to constantly wipe every day, that got them to that point. Unfortunately, they
took the relationship route, the political route, and they got to where they are. And it's not saying that whatever they're doing at the top isn't still working, but if you're hurting the people at the bottom, eventually, if you take out the bottom, everything else is going to fall. So it's like, instead of like breaking down everybody that's below you, looking at everybody, we're all at the same level. How are we going to make this thing work?
Yeah. I'd rather bring all those people that, I may be passing up. Yeah. Not by throwing them under the bus or just stepping on them, but say, hey, guys, if you want to come along for this ride, man, let's go. Come on. Yeah. I'd rather do that. I'd rather bring as many people with me as possible to that positive side of things than say, all right, man, catch you later. But if they don't want to come, I'm like, okay, nice. I'll see you down the road, maybe. That's what it boils down to.
That's what this is. Like this, like as a whole, this is an information funnel for people that want to, continue to educate and grow themselves.
Sure.
On a regular basis.
And I'm glad you're doing this.
All types of people can relate to this. Every single person can. If you just have to open your mind to really accept it, and you don't have to like it, but there's things here that you could take away, even if you don't like most of it. There's something you could find to take away. So it's
people aren't going to like everything that we've said on this, this little sit down that we're having. Yeah. But that's okay. If there's one segment in this that makes them be a better person to themselves, to the people around them, and maybe just change their quality of life, I'm happy with that. There's no reason for them not to. We make priority we prioritize things that we want to do and that we love to do. You know, I always use this when somebody says, man, going back to the working out or doing things that I love, like going and socializing and networking. A lot of times, even when I'm doing that, I'm doing it for when I'm networking is to, hey, one, build my circle of positive people. Two, build that network of possibilities. I've met so many people where I'm just hanging out and getting to know people just for whatever reason, just blatantly doing it out there, talking to strangers at Nickel City. They may talk to me or I talk to them. And then next thing down the line, I figure out, oh, hey, they work for a venue or they're in the industry as well as Robynn. All of a sudden we're doing a show together or they're asking her to come out and play an event. Little things like that happen. Yeah. Or so I find out somebody wants to learn boxing. Oh, hey, will you teach me? Okay. Yeah. Awesome. All of a sudden they become a student. I've had that happen so many times. Yeah. So if you close yourself off, you're not gonna have these opportunities basically present themselves to you. If you're just in your own little bubble. So it's getting out there and putting yourself out there to a point of putting that positive energy out there. Yeah. People are going to see that. They're going to be attracted to it like a moth to a light. They really are. Yeah. Because it's good. It makes you feel good when you're around a positive person. It changes your mindset. It changes your attitude. And when you see that person, you got a smile on your face because you're like, man. Or when you think about that person, like, man, I had a really good time talking with that person the other day or so and so. And it does. It brings that back, a happy memory, a happy feeling. You get endorphins released. It's
impactful, for sure.
It really is.
The only one of the situations I would see running into with that is like, for instance, an extrovert. If an extrovert really likes to be around people, and then right now they're put in a situation where they've been forced inside for however many months now, or like an introvert. An introvert is completely happy being alone, but when they're alone for so long or they're going through something, they're like battling themselves. So I'm introverted. I really enjoy just my space at home. I'm cool with my family, but there's some things that I'm addressing or I'm refusing to address because, I'm just at home alone and I'm unhappy and I'm going to continue thinking about these things. And it's going to continue to sit there because I'm not going to address it. But going back to what we were saying earlier, if you address it, you look at it, how is this affecting me? Does it deserve more than 30 seconds of my life? Nope. Fuck it. It's gone. Now we're moving on.
Exactly. What's that? This made me think of that show. I watched this whole thing on Netflix with Robynn, the Marie Kondo. They're like cleaning out, basically taking pieces of clothing or things that you have cluttered and saying, does this make me happy? And if it doesn't, do I still need this? What? And throwing it out. Yeah. So this is a good way to she's going to laugh when she sees
minimize.
This. Minimize and create, minimize things that are in your living space. Yeah. But I say take that same mindset for your mentality, for your thoughts, for the people around you. Does this person make me happy? Does doing this make me happy? You were talking about this earlier about, like bacon. Bacon's either going to make you feel good or make you feel bad, depending on your, one, your mindset, two, your body makeup, if your body enjoys it or your body doesn't process it so well. I got my training session in earlier. I had some tacos with, I think, bacon and sausage in them with eggs. And hey, man, you know what? I was like Winnie the Pooh over there eating those tacos. And I feel great. I mean, I feel energized. I got my workout in. I ate those tacos. My body's okay with that. So if you can feed positivity to yourself, mentally and spiritually, however you want to take it in, that's going to make you feel better.
Listen to yourself. Listen to your body. Listen to like the way that and it will continue to go back there. Like if I'm talking to somebody, if at the end of the conversation talking to that person and I don't listen to the way that I'm feeling, then like we're just going to continue to be unhappy.
Sure. I mean, I've seen and heard of life coaches that don't even have their own life together, but they're out there telling other people how to live their life. there's an old adage of those who can, those who can't teach. I don't like that because it's not true. It's funny because in some instances it is. You may get, and this is going to sound bad, I'll probably get hate mail for this or something, but
you're good. I'll just leave your home address.
There's therapists, again, life coaches that they have their own issues.
Yeah.
And they're trying to help other people.
Yeah.
There's counselors that are like that. So I say to those people that are in those professions, if you don't have your life together, I know your life's not always going to be perfect. Our lives are not always going to be perfect, even when we're trying to be positive.
I do as much as I can to make it, but
make sure you're taking care of your own before you go out and tell somebody else how to live their life.
Yeah.
Now, if they're paying you for it, I get it. I understand. Hey, it's my client. I got to tell them what they want to hear. That's one thing. But still, you need to have the mindset of, look, they're paying me good money.
Yeah.
It's just like my students that I teach boxing. Am I going to teach them half-ass? Am I going to teach them how to, throw a right hook and not properly block an incoming shot, a counter shot? Yeah. Or am I just going to tell them, oh, you're fine. You're good enough. And then they go out and they try to go and box in a match and they get knocked out. Oh, I should have taught you how to defend yourself.
Keep your hands up. Yeah.
Yeah. I taught you how to do offense, but no defense. It's the same thing in life. You can tell people, give them the whole package. Don't just give them a little bit of information. It's, if you're truly going to help somebody and you truly want to help people be positive, give them examples. Tell them, just like we're talking now, you asked me, how did I get to this point of being positive? And you as well. I mean, we had to go through things and deal with them and process them and realize, hey, okay, that's in the past. I dealt with it. It's no longer an issue. When I run into issues, and whether it's a relationship or whether it's business, and I get angry, I'm just like, this isn't working out the way I want to. Is it worth it? What can I do to make this better? Okay, let me change my attitude before I respond. Sure. Have I written out emails or type something up and want to hit send? Okay, let me sleep on that. Wake up the next morning and I'm all, whew, that doesn't sound good. Yeah. And then again, too, that's text messages and emails are the worst in being interpreted.
There's no form of emotion in either one of them.
No. And you create your own narrative, basically, when you're reading it. Yeah. Somebody could be like, hey, man, how's it going? It was great to see you the other day. So I'm worried about you because, and you may read that as, hey, man, yeah, it was great to see you the other day. You create your own voice for that. And
self-talk. It's the
exactly. Yeah. Man, so when people read something, they say, they put it in their head, depending on how they're feeling. If you're in a good mood and you read something, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Man, but if you're in a bad mood or you're irritated, like, what do they want now? And then you read it, you're like, why are you being a jerk? So in those instances where I get people that don't interpret things well, like letters or emails, I want to talk to them either face to face or on the phone. Like, hey, I want you to hear the inflection in my voice.
I have plenty of those relationships as well. And it's like you're understanding who you're talking to. Going back to the communication thing, because communication is key. Like whether it's your wife or your friends or the coworkers, like there's certain coworkers that if you send them a text message, it's probably going to be perceived wrong. We all have. And hey, I wanted to shoot you a call because I wanted to check in on what was going on. Yeah. And it's funny because this is kind of out of left field, but a lot of the guys I work with know I do this. A lot of the guys I work with, I had to train. So like they know how I work and train the teams. And they come up to me like, man, I love the idea, but like I'm around you enough at work. I don't want to hear your voice anymore when I'm not at work. But it's like, I get it. But there's people like this helps people. Although, at work, we have a great relationship. We're friends outside of work.
Yeah.
But you can't get behind this because I mean you don't want to hear me talking anymore. And it makes sense. I completely
Yeah.
understand it. That's nothing against it either. Like keep doing you. I'm gonna keep doing me.
Yeah. It's no. I totally get that. It's I have friends that love being around me more than
Mhm.
they'll again, this goes back to social media. People get upset if they don't get enough followers or they don't get a lot of likes.
Yeah.
It really doesn't bother me as long as people are enjoying my content.
Yeah.
And whether it's my personal content or the content that I put out there for Robynn along with her for for her brand, for her music.
Yeah.
Hey, now that I really want to see progress, obviously, because it's a business and it's a brand.
Yeah.
So that I want to see interaction. I want
Yeah.
to see people liking it. I want to see people commenting.
Yeah.
That I really want. For my own personal, hey man, if you like it, great. If you don't, cool. If you just like looking at my life through a window, basically that's what you're doing. Cool. That's what people do. That's
Window
all
shopping.
Social media is for people
Yeah.
that just look and they don't comment or they don't like. They're just like, oh, how's so and so doing? Oh, that's cool. Keep going. They're just checking on everybody, but there's no interaction. And for some of that, that's the introverts that they go out every once in a while or don't. Robynn will say I'm a extrovert, that I love being around people. I do love being around people, but I also like my own personal time.
Yeah.
I really do. There's times that I'll go out for like 3, 4, 5 days in a row, before all this happened. And then I don't go out for like 3 days. I'm just like hermit man, like I'm just going to be in my cave. I'm going to work out. I'm going to, read some books. I'm going to create some content for Robynn.
Recharge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Prioritizing your own personal well-being. Like,
I'm going to oil up and look at myself in the mirror, I mean, it's exactly. So it's just that you really have
whatever makes you happy.
Hey man,
there's no judgment coming from me.
Like putting whipped cream in your hair and watching ponies. I don't know, man, but hey,
why not?
Whatever works for you, whatever makes you happy. Do it over. Now I say that to a point, without hurting other people. Do things that make you happy without hurting other people, unless you're getting paid to fight. That's another thing. But so there you go.
It's funny because I've met, like, over the last, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, I've met a lot of people, and I have come in contact with a decent amount of people, and a lot of the times, like when you meet somebody that's got a similar spirit or energy than what you work with and how you carry yourself on a regular basis, they're gonna say something like, man, you have such a great energy, or oh man, I like this is really, I have a good feeling about you, or like, and it usually continues to carry on with that relationship. Although, like, there's people that I've run into that we've had that type of conversation, it's really connected. It's you prioritizing yourself, and then you kind of move in different directions. But it's the infectious behavior like that, like it's so good to just pass the smile or pass that good energy, like continue to pushing it on, even if it's to somebody that typically doesn't have that, but they'll hopefully turn back and see, man, that was such a good encounter. That was such a good experience with that person. And it's like, it's cool watching you work the room, because I've been around a few times, whether it was at a show or just hanging out, watching you work the room it's like, man, you're a big dude. It's hard to lose you. But holy shit, it's easy to lose you. Like, where did Jack go? He was literally right here.
Yeah, I'm like, my dad used to do that. It's funny enough. My dad's like a chameleon. I always remember that as a kid watching him. Yeah. So my family, they used to have a bar and a restaurant down on the east side.
Nice.
It's Las Casuelas now on Cesar Chavez.
Nice.
But it was there for 30 years. And I grew up in that business. I grew up in the industry with that. And so when I would see my dad, so my dad worked for UT, and then he'd get off work and then come help my mom in the restaurant. And then he'd go hang out and play pool with the guys, buy numbers, and he'd hang out. But I always saw him, no matter what situation he was in, he became part of that group very easily.
Yeah.
and people just they flocked to him. It was very interesting. I call it the Cruz charm, man. But so it's funny. My niece is the same way. My mom makes fun of it because it's that. Like, if I had a kid, my mom said I would have one like my sister, and she told us when we were younger. She's like, "You're gonna have one like your brother." And my niece is just like me. She's very outgoing.
That's great, though.
She's very charismatic.
Yeah.
It worries me because she's a female, so she's beautiful, and I'm just like,
teach her how to fight.
Luckily, she's had the same boyfriend for a long time. I'm like, okay, good. You guys stay together. So it's
Jack's over here cleaning his guns.
Yeah, exactly. Mom, hey, you guys
be good, okay?
Right. I actually had to talk with them. I made them so uncomfortable. They were at our house, and I was like, so I just brought it up.
Creepy Uncle Jack.
Yeah, they were mortified. I was like, look, we're all adults here. I mean, come on. I was like, it's funny to talk to somebody younger than you, especially, when they're teenagers and you're thinking in your head, like, hey man, I was there. I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand, you're making out, things can get out of hand. Just be careful. And they're just like, I'm like, just be careful, please. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yes.
But it's, again, going back to the charismatic part of it. I look back, like I said, at my dad. My dad's a very quiet guy. Like, my dad does not say a lot. Like, he's just in a normal setting. But to see him work the room, I mean, that guy, he was like just gliding through there, and people were just like, Jack, hey, how's it going?
And a few words, but
right. Yeah. But so I have the best of both worlds. Obviously, for me, my mom was very outgoing. My mom was very talkative, very, very charismatic as well. So I've got both sides of them, and that's where the introvert and extrovert come into play for me. I'm okay. I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll go. I want to see my friends. I want to hug people. I grew up in a very touchy household where we always hugged and kissed each other.
Yeah.
When we saw each other, when we would leave. If you just want to tell somebody that you love them, I'd be like, hey mom, I love you. Give her a hug and kiss on the cheek.
Yeah.
Same thing with my dad. I grew up. I saw kids growing up the same age. It got to the point they didn't want to do that in front of their friends. I'm like, I give my mom and my dad a hug and a kiss, and people are like, you still hug and kiss your parents? Like, yeah. Like, they're my parents. I love them. They're taking care of me. Aren't your parents taking care of you? I appreciate them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were always going to get that from me. So that's the one thing right now that I truly miss with all this, right? With the pandemic going on, because they're at a vulnerable age.
And the best thing for them is to not be around you or anybody else. Like,
exactly. Yeah. They came by yesterday, dropped off some tortillas, and my mom made some homemade tortillas, and so they came masked up, gloves, and so I put my mask on, and my dad put the bag, gave me the bag, and I'm just like, they kept their distance and said hi real quick, but I cannot tell you, John, how much it hurts me not to be able to hold my parents. Yeah. Because that's what I'm used to. They're used to. Yeah. Talked to my mom yesterday. I think that's why they came by, because we were talking, and I talked to her the previous night, 2 days ago, and she's like, I really miss hugging you. I miss your hugs. Yeah. I was like, I was like, yeah, you make me cry, mom. It's that. It's
and that's a side of you that people wouldn't expect. The front, that's something like it's what I completely love. It's so crazy, but it's like when people first look at you, you're a big guy, you're intimidating, you have a deep voice. We have those things going, and it's like right when they look at you, like, I'm gonna go this way. But no, it's like you're a big softy. It's okay. You can still beat the shit out of somebody, but there's like the affection is there. The masculine has its time. The feminine also has its time. It's being able to balance those things and maintain the positive outlook, positive personality, positive energy towards people that are around us and towards yourself, making yourself happy.
Sure.
And it's being able to work like that. And it's so hard to really realize that you're in a place where you're not doing that, or you're doing one thing but not the other thing. And it's finding the balance for all those things, really realizing like, if I'm going to be happy, I need to figure out this, and that. But if I don't figure that out, it's okay. I'm going to continue to working towards what I want. I'm going to continue going this way. Because if you keep going that way, then you're not going backwards. You're keep moving forward. Even though you might have lost something, there was a victory in that loss.
Sure.
So it's like this sign I have behind me says, just remember all that you accomplished today. Even if it was a shitty day and you've gotten a bunch of arguments and all the other stuff that might have happened, there's something today that you accomplished. Yeah. One thing. Find one thing, because you've got to be grateful for it. Hey, I put my shoes on today.
Sure.
That was my accomplishment.
I wish more people would take the time to reflect on their day. I see so many people post about and talk about, it was a rough day. It was a bad day. Mm-hmm. I want you to take that day. I want you to dissect it. And I want you to look at every piece of it. Was there no point in time that you enjoyed any part of that day? Mm-hmm. And when they really take a step back and they look at it like, you know what, actually, man, the coffee was really good this morning. And I had a good time. And I sat there and I thought about happy things.
It's simple things.
Like, hey, that was a happy part of your day. Mm-hmm. Hang on to that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like as we get older we think about memories. We think about a lot of things that we went through and we grew up with and we experienced as, man, that was a good time. There may have been some bad things that happened that day that you're not remembering, but you're kind of looking at the good things of it all.
Your relationship with your parents, the relationship, the feeling you get with your parents. Like it goes way back to the beginning.
And that's where I go to talk about. My parents
were not that type of people. Different type of people. I'm completely fine being 14,000 miles away from them. I'm completely okay with it. Like, my dad's not even in the picture. My mom is 100% there, but she, like, different feelings. I love talking to her, but I gotta have my space too, Mom. Like, and she understands it. My brothers are still at home, but I'm the one that kind of ran across the country. So
and that's okay. We can't look at somebody else's life and say, oh, I should be living that way. It's as long as you're truly happy with the way that you're living, that's great. And that's all everybody should really look for. Having that quality of life that is so high that, think about it, John, when you have such a high quality of life and everything feels good every day, like you're happy to wake up in the morning, you're happy to go to work, you're happy to have that coffee, you're happy to be able to hop on a computer and talk to somebody, you're happy to be able to have clothes on your body. And when you look at that, it's awesome. I mean, it just really puts things in perspective. It really is.
Gratitude, for sure,
We have so much, all these, seeing people post about, man, I can't wait to get my hair done. I can't wait to get my nails done. I can't wait to, to go to the bar. I'm like, that's great. And I understand a lot of these businesses that want to get up and running. I'm fortunate enough to have a job, and you are too, that we continued to work. Mm-hmm. Our businesses didn't shut down. No. We were essential in the eyes of what's happening. Because essential, that whole thing that came about, I get it. There's the frontline workers and all that. Then they're doing awesome. And I respect what they're doing. Yeah. But for people, they're not looking at the big picture. They're not looking, the people that were able to continue to work, they're not looking at, hey, be very grateful. Everything that we have beyond just having a job or having a house over a roof over our head, those are amenities. Mm-hmm. The gym is an amenity. The nail salon is an amenity. A hairstylist is an amenity. Having a car is an amenity. Having a cell phone is an amenity.
Yeah.
Those are extras. Those are sprinkles on top of your life.
It makes life easier.
And people, they're so used to it. They're so desensitized that they don't look at this as an extra. They don't look at this as free. No, it's a necessity.
And it's also an opportunity. This is full of opportunity.
Sure.
And the people that were, sadly enough, stuck in a position where they couldn't work, didn't look at the opportunity that was here. It's like, you have a phone, most likely you have internet on there. It might be slow, but there's plenty of options. I couldn't tell you how many people have reached out to me and said, hey, I'm stressing out. I've lost my job. I was driving for this company. I was bartending at this company. I was doing this. And like, it was the entertainment industry, put it that way.
Sure.
And it was all taken away. And I have always been that type of guy where I'm going to look for money where I don't have it already. And if I could find money somewhere doing something, I'm going to look for it. Yeah. And they were reaching out to me like, I'm scared, I'm running out of money, blah, blah, blah. And it was always like, you could always cut back on certain things like Netflix and chilling. That it might be $10, but that $10 might be that thing that changes whatever you need to get into. There's plenty of websites that where you can make money online, and you can do it from here. Or you could do reviews, or you could do this, you could do that. There's options. But if you're dwelling on the fact that you've lost this and stuck here, we're keeping ourselves from finding the options that are out here. So don't dwell. It's going to be okay. We'll figure this out. Or don't dwell. You're going to figure this out because you're way stronger than the situation you've been put in.
Yep. And a lot of people, they don't give themselves enough credit to think that they can do something outside of their zone, their comfortable zone.
Yeah.
And that's just it. It's not realizing your full potential. Everybody has the potential to do anything they want.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of how they look at it. If it seems too intimidating, so many people don't want to do it. They're just like, well, I can't possibly do that. How do you know? Have you tried?
Yeah.
If we don't fail, we'll never know what we can or cannot do. Failure is the only way to improve yourself.
Accepting failure.
Yeah.
You have to accept that you're going to go into something that you might fail at.
Yeah, you can't be scared of it.
No.
I mean, there's so many things that I've done in my life that I could have looked at like, man, I don't want to be a failure at this.
Yeah.
But when you look at it as, if I fail at this, it's okay.
Yeah.
At least if I know that I gave it my all and it didn't work out, hey man, at least I know. There's no ifs, ands, or buts that I didn't give it a try and I didn't try my hardest to make it work.
If you listen to some of the conversations of the richest men in the earth, anywhere, if they were some kind of entrepreneur and that money wasn't given to them, 99.9% of the time you're going to hear of 20 to 30 to 100 different places that they started a business and it failed. But they, instead of sitting on the fact that the timing is wrong, the business failed, the idea sucked, whatever it is, it failed, they figured out something else and then they moved on. And then now they have 100 different working businesses and they're making millions of dollars. But they didn't sit there and think about how they lost their job at Taco Bell. Like, find options. There's options out there. This is a huge world. We're in a very powerful place. You have the body that you have and the energy that you have and carrying it and being infectious and sharing with people. Like, figure it out. You're going to be okay.
Yeah, exactly. I'll use the Villa brothers, the Hunt brothers.
Yeah.
Those guys, we talked about them last time. To go
Villa. I even saw your post the other day. This guy, I'm talking about pizza on the podcast. 2 days later, he's over here eating pizza.
I love those guys. Those guys are great. Brandon will even tell you, like, he couldn't keep a job.
Yeah.
Now, he could have continued to work jobs and either get fired or quit, but he didn't. He decided to go to his brother and say, hey, man, we need to do something different. I need to do something different. And what does he have now? They have a huge business that's doing great.
It's very well known. It's like a staple in Austin now. Staple.
So it's just that. You can either continue to do the same thing over and over and continue to fail and feel sorry for yourself, or you can change your environment, change your goals, change your mindset, and make something happen.
Yeah.
it's, when I do stuff for Robynn, I don't always get a yes from people. I got people telling me no all the time. I got people looking at me like, who does Jack Cruz think he is coming in here asking us to play her music when we don't even know who the heck he is?
Yeah.
He hasn't been in the business that long.
Yeah.
He hasn't paid his dues.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't have time to pay my dues. My dues are paid when I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Like,
we're trying to make things happen.
I'm trying to make stuff happen. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any younger. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You want something fresh and new, something, take a risk.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
If you're willing to do it, great. And for all the people that have helped us along the way, all the people that have said yes, or the people that said no initially and then saw how hard we're working and then said yes, thank you. I got to say that. Thank you.
If you don't ask the question, it's a no.
Yeah. And I always tell, so I always put it out there. 2 things. Ask the question, know your worth. If you don't know your worth, number one's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look at it that way, that if you're not putting any type of wherewithal or just confidence in your own persona, everybody has their brand. You had your brand. Even before you started this, you had your brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. John was a brand. Jack is a brand. Everybody has their brand they're working on. When you meet somebody new and you're talking to them and they're getting to know you, you're basically selling yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to sell that person on you. So 1, they'll continue to talk to you. 2, they'll like you, and they're doing the same thing. Now, if you don't like what you're hearing, you don't like the experience, you're not going to go.
Conversation. Nice having you.
Yes. Hey, man. Great to meet you. Maybe I'll see you again sometime. Oh, you want my number? Oh, man. You know what? Just look me up on social media. It's just that. It's but you never know. I mean, that small encounter could open up. That person could be a vein to somebody else. Yeah. So you have to keep that in mind. Yeah. So,
treating everybody the same.
And I do. I try to build as many relationships. I don't care if you're a janitor working at a business or the COO. I'm going to treat you the same.
It's crazy you brought that up. So like me, we travel a decent amount, me and Lydia, and I know you guys travel a decent amount, but we're one of those people, like, we would rather sit at the bar with the bartender. I want to sit there and sit with the bartender because I know that he's not just trying to service us. I know what this he does here, and he enjoys his time here. If like it's a well-known restaurant, he knows what food to get. He knows what to drink because he's going to be making it. Like we would rather sit and have a third member of our party with the bartender, or 4th or 5th or whoever else was working behind the bar or next to us. So it's like, we would rather be just hanging out with everybody instead of like, well, let's just sit at the table and enjoy each other, because we're going to enjoy each other way more together at the bar and just doing our thing, talking to everybody, socializing. Like, we're going to enjoy that energy because we want to like brush off on other people and continue to like gain a relationship. Part of the experience is with the bartender. Like, when we look back at a lot of our trips, it's usually how it went. It was like, we sat at the bar, we had the best food we ever had. We didn't even have to look at the menu, and we got awesome drinks, usually free drinks, because he's like, yeah, have you tried this liquor? I mean, you're telling me about whiskey, you're telling me about that, this and that, and beers. And it's like, the conversation's there. Being outgoing is okay, or being completely silent, as long as you're making yourself happy. Like, it's putting yourself in a situation to be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. It's okay.
Yeah, it is. And it's a good way to invest in yourself. Yeah. Reaching out to other people and getting to know other people. Yeah. Doing things outside of the norm. I mean, I love doing that too. I love, whether it's at Nickel, sitting down and it's barely anybody's in there because it's in between. And all of a sudden people start packing in, people sit next to me and they start talking to me. And so I'm like, oh, hey, I see you're drinking some whiskey there. And the same thing, like, hey, look, here's my favorites. Yeah. Why here, I'll get a couple of pours and they'll try them. And I've built some relationships out of that, business and personal. Yeah. And it's just a matter of sharing your experience with other people, whether it's spirits, whether it's your mindset on things, positivity.
And I guarantee from this alone, like you're going to gain relationships and I'm going to gain relationships. And it's one of those, like, people are going to reach out and be like, hey, I saw your conversation here. You know, how did you get there?
Yeah.
How do you maintain that every day? Like, there's got to be one thing that you do on a daily basis that puts you back in that frame of mind when you wake up. And for me, it's being grateful to be where I'm at, being grateful to wake up. Hey, I'm up. I'm able to go to work. I get up early as fuck. I get up at 4 a.m. Some people don't like being a morning person, but I don't really have an option.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm good with it. I'm grateful for it. I'm going to cook. I'm going to get my coffee. I'm going to get dressed, and I'm going to go to work. And I'm grateful to be there. I'm grateful to have these types of relationships. I'm grateful to be with the people I'm at work, when I'm at home, outside of work. I'm grateful to go walk around. It's just putting yourself back in that like peak mindset when you wake up. And it's cool hearing like the peak mindset come from other people too.
Yeah. You have to recenter. You do. It's not all, rainbows and unicorns.
It seems to be in the marketplace right now, though.
Right? T-shirts, koozies, hats. It's all over the place.
All the basic unicorns out there.
Yeah. Getting that, but again, recentering it's being grateful for the things that you have. And I think people get so complacent with the things they have, they don't look at them anymore.
Yeah.
From this, people, seriously, look in my eyes. I want you to look at the things you have around you.
Yeah.
Whether it's your car, your TV, your pet, your significant other, your computer, your phone. Those are so many things that you have that other people don't have.
Yeah.
People living in third world countries, I know they're not.
We have it pretty fucking good in comparison.
They're not your problem. They're not part of your life. It doesn't affect you. That's fine if it doesn't affect you, but be grateful for the things that you have. Be grateful for the things that the opportunities you're able to actually go out and get and do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
There's so many things on a daily basis you can do. We don't actually have a full 24 hours to go out and make the best of our day. Because
there's other things that have to happen.
Yeah.
Sleep, eat, drink, poop.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're bathing.
Hopefully. At least once a day. Ladies, you don't have to wash your hair every day. I get it.
It's that dry shampoo.
I should take some stock in that. Jesus.
The Axe body spray, everything.
Oh man.
That's how I sanitize. But it's so good, like just seeing and feeling that energy and like being able to like, so when you give something, if you give something to somebody, that feeling that when you just get done giving that person something, no matter what it is, you feel good about it. Why not chase that feeling on a regular basis to give as much as you can, but give as much as you can to other people and give to yourself. It's when you give back to yourself and you recenter and you're really selfish in a good way, you're going to continue to give and give and give and give and give and give instead of taking from everything. Like,
sure. You have to, it's that old, take a penny, give a penny.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
still have them at gas stations too.
Sure. You may need to spray them down, but hey, it's okay. Wear a glove, whatever you need to do, but wash your damn hands.
Yeah. Don't put it in your mouth.
Yeah. God, I choked on a penny once. I made that mistake when I was a kid. I learned that lesson. And don't ever put it in your mouth. It's perfect size to block your esophagus.
There's got to be a story behind that, but I think we're running out of time.
We'll have to come back to that one. We'll throw that one in the parking lot for next time.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's good. It's so crazy how like an hour and a half runs by.
Yeah.
That was quick.
Well, that's just it. It doesn't feel like it, but it's when you have quality conversation, and I'll call this that because it is. I mean, we both have had experiences that are very similar, but yet different in so many ways, but they put us in the same direction.
Yeah.
Positivity and moving forward. And that's just what I want everybody to do. Yeah. If you get one message out of this podcast today, please just keep moving forward in a positive direction. That's all I ask.
For sure.
So,
it couldn't be, it sounds easy. It's really hard, but it's getting used to it.
Yep.
Get used to being uncomfortable.
It'll feel easier the more you do it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's that, just remembering it on a daily basis. There's little note cards maybe you have to put around the house. Maybe it's like reading something or putting it on your phone where you have to read it to believe it every day.
Yeah.
I will do this. I will do that. It's a power statement. And I've gone over that in other episodes, and it's just find the way to make yourself happy and then continue to move forward.
Yep.
Don't sit still. Maybe that day of recharging or hour of recharging, 12 hours of recharging was enough, but you continue to move forward and continue to be happy and spread that love. And turn this on in the car. Just turn it on when you're driving to HEB. I promise within a 10-minute window of however long it takes you to get to HEB, there's going to be something that you can find.
Yeah.
Gem.
I agree.
But thank you again for letting me have you come on with me, talk with me. We're definitely going to continue doing this, maybe blossom something else out of this.
Hey, man.
This is
you read my mind, brother. I don't know, man.
Awesome. And like there's just the energy that we have is infectious, and people will benefit from that. And there's a much greater power that we have that can really benefit so many people. And it's so cool that us just living our lives has created this. So it's so good. But I love it. Thank you again. And until next time, stay classy.
On the cold concrete, well, my head was aching and I had no